So here's a simple cloud trading system built upon this white cloud is going to be a volatility envelope, so there's no direction to it. It's just smoothed out. Closing prices have been smoothed out. And I think this indicator has in it, here's what it's called. On this system, it's called the HAS, which is Smooth Hakanashi. And it's a 1313, which means I think it's method 1 on a 3-period moving average, and maybe it's method and the other one's a 3-period with a it's a method and an amount. So the first number is the method. Possibly, I'm not going to open it up, but you do what you want. So this is what I'm using. It's 1313 with a 3232 HAS. And you have to layer them up like that. So the binary signal service here is just, okay, if it's in green mode, then you're buying. And if it's in the blue mode, you should be selling, or you should be short. And you shouldn't change. I mean, in a true trend system, you don't change your affiliation until it changes color. So you have to wait for your indicators to catch up, maybe, because if you scalp the wick, then of course you're waiting for the trend system to kick in. And here you'd hunt for a time frame. I'm using a 20 pip grid. You're looking for a time frame that's tradable, so you can run a 30 pip stop to make 70, 80 pips. Because if I turn off the line chart, actually, I put on top here is 1 period closing. But if I took that off, you'd see these unique little cute dojis where you get a crisscross. It's like a double zigzag pause. So those are the trend entries. And there's a guy that sent me an email. He says, I make money doing this. Yes, of course. I mean, if you're a trend person, and this is a pretty tight trend, I think I have a 2-period and a 3-period moving average, something like that. It's very tight. Now, once you go to a 5-period, you're starting to bang your nuts, right? You're going to get a fucking rug burn and shit. You want to go, you get the 8-period moving average, you're kind of like, what's the point, right? So here I'm doing a rally into the cloud. You can see the closing up. We don't need to see the candles anymore because we're just going to trade closing prices, and we can see the wicks poking out though. And the wicks should poke out. I should have put those on last. I might have fucked that up. Because we don't want to hide the wicks if we're going to do, I guess we'd turn on the Williams fractal, pick it up and show it to us. I guess we'd cheat and put the Williams fractal on top. So I don't want to make it too messy, but if you put the Williams fractal on top, you can see the spike, that it's calling out. Or you want to also, another thing is the filter. So the volatility is high enough. If you can't see the upper wicks, it's still, it's just, of course, if you're going to go with the color, maybe I'm making it too complicated, but I like the volatility envelope behind it. So you can see, it's getting all choppy and it's screaming hard enough. There's enough volatility. It's worth getting on the trend. So it's worth buying these pullbacks in blue. And of course, I'm going to cherry pick, of course, back here, but we all know that even from a structure point of view, if you're going to put confirmation, this is just a really tight moving average. You know that this top's becoming a bottom at some level, even though they wick that down. So if you're running 30 pip stops, you might survive this whole clusterfuck, and you can buy every pullback into the green cloud. Here it pays money to get in just before the close of the day. You're long, you get that follow through, you get a double, there's no reason you can't trade this. Okay, now you have to be a certain, you're just going to take it. You're going to take that. You're going to go against it. But see, the reason why the robot can't do it, because he'll see green, he'll go, oh, looks like it's going up, like a fucking idiot, right? So when it comes to Asian session, which we are now, do we get continuation, or are we going to plunge again? If I go to the 4-hour chart, you can make the argument that, well, you'd still be in the trade here. This is the only pullback you got on the 4-hour chart. So on a true trend system, which is the reason why people want to trade trends, is because look at this beautiful fucking trend here. And there's another one, and then it's a fucking goddamn train wreck. As far as that kind of target, I mean, this is like a 200 pip move, I mean, it's fucking nuts. Then, this is all over the fucking map. And once it gets into on the 4-hour chart, you have this beautiful, you sell into the blue, of course, duh. But see, if you sell into the blue here and you don't take profits of at least 20 to 40 pips, you're running 30 pip stops, I guess you don't want to be too greedy, right? You don't want to be so greedy that you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to fucking sell here. It's blue. And I'm going to put in you got to put a 40 pip stop up here. I mean, if structurally, if you're supposed to play the game as opposed to, this is, well, I'll put my stop up here, they'll never get it. Well, maybe they won't get it in the next 30 seconds, but, at some point, and then are you just going to start selling into it here? And when they flip the switch, as long as it's blue, just run sell limits. So you're always getting picked up in the breeze. As long as it's green, run buy limits, but you couldn't have even got filled on buy limits because it's just ripping. On this 4-hour chart here, it's just ripping it's gushing into this vacuum. So it all looks all rosy until here the robot's going to get mixed signals. He's going to fuck up. So you'd say, well, go to the daily. That should make it easier. Yeah, there's only one fucking entry here. The beginning of the month, halfway through the month, and then here it's just a chop fest. So every time frame has its own unique issues. And here, sure, on this, if the robot only traded this fucking kind of month, and he only went long. I mean, look at these. Of course, here, he has to. It's just not the same. You'd want to, of course, curve fit it. When you look at it back like this, you're like, can't you do better than that? I mean, look at all the chop here. You just blow up the robot. So you have to go. Like here, it's a buy. Technically, it's a buy here because it's kind of like pulling back. It's structurally it's a buy. So they're still buying this thing. The dollar's going to still kill the yen. And for whatever reason, I guess this is the carry trade thing I was talking about. But now, in the big picture, I mean, we're just in a big fucking mess. But yeah, this template here, if I go down to the time frame that would be more suitable, if you're a day trader and you're just going to babysit the 1-hour chart, I guess you got to be hitting the button here. When it's up, you're like, Jesus. But see, I can't even imagine that because I think the 4-hour chart would be a little bit better lifestyle, at least as far as taking trades that, okay, it's green here, but you should have been long down here, right? Here's the trend trader's entry. They're making 30 pips on that. So we can see the trend traders trades, but we can see the range traders are making all the money here. Typically, you can point to this back here and tell me, you remember when they used to be able to count your votes, like they would actually count them and shit? Remember that? Oh yeah, I got you down. Oh, they'll get a booth or a big curtain, dude. They had a curtain, like you had your own you would just hide out in there, have a sandwich and stuff. And no, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. It's like private. Now you go in these little cardboard booths, dude. I could just fucking take like a nuclear weapon. I could just, I could take a hammer, ball peen hammer, just take out the side of that thing, a cardboard fucking shit, and then I noticed to go right in the shredder. So yeah, come on, it's midnight. Bring those things in here already. So that's what this looks like to me. This is like this is like internet style USB thumb drive. No, your Bitcoin's got them right here in my pocket on a thumb drive. You're safe. Yeah, I guess so that these kind of trend ideas are very appealing, but in the long run, you can tell me all day about this thing on the left here, but man, I tell you, for the most part, on this 4-hour chart, it's a fucking mess. It's just up and down, and I guess the trend traders are going to get in here, so they're supposed to. And of course, you'd have to dial it in to what you could afford here. You got to be on guard. You got to be pulling that trigger into the blue. Sell. Here's the sell. Sell into the blue. I just tell your robot, here, do this, and don't ask too many questions. People are going to start. And you got like a nice divergence here, but you're supposed to be in sell mode. So the contradiction is you're in a downtrend, but the fucking ain't going to keep going down for fucking ever, is it? Well, you said that over here, and it just kept fucking keep going up. So, all these, wait for the indicators to catch up. If you would have taken these two sells, sure, but they're gonna rip your head off if you don't take something away from that. And then here's the argument for the ultimate sell. Make 60 pips there with a 20 pip stop. Sure, you only take that trade on that 1 week, and then here's your buy for the week. Sell. I guess you can buy 2 trades a week, but you should be buying here, I suppose, just because it's so fucking crazy. At least for the scalp to here, and then, who knows? Who really fucking cares? If you're going to sell everything above this in a 20 pip window just because, and then cash out into this, then that's your whole, a majority of your trades over. Or are you gonna see that's what's going on, see what's happening, say, well, this space got hit, and Jesus, we just cleaned out whatever here was, and then I assume we bounced in here. Put the things on top, so I should put a skinnier bar on top is what I should do, so I can see the true range with the background of the cloud, so to speak. But then next argument is, well, why don't you put the 21 EMA on there? Then you only basically get in this one trade here, But see, this could be a dud. If you're gonna start to say things like that, then you're fucking, you might as well say, oh yeah, well, they sabotaged my MT4. Your Honor, this is why. Yeah, what happened was the kids were fucking around at the computer again, and they put those trades on. It wasn't me. Nope. Did not check. It was a live account. Oh, I thought it was a demo gun. Oh, see? Kid's daddy's got to go away for a while now. He fucked up. Blew up the account again. So here's the Williams fractal, and here's just the good old entry down here. Even though we're all on a downtrend, everybody's all trendy. And even here, I suppose, it's like, say, if you look left here, you'll see this giant 3-year vacuum. You fill that now. We're just spending a lot of time just dicking around above up in the ozone here. And if you don't mind, making 20 to 50 pips as opposed to 50 to 100 pips, there's a completely different amount of patience there for that to unfold, because you could end up way up here, and then people will say, as they do, a couple weeks later, see, I told you so. Okay, great. Now, did you in the whole giant world of everything you do, is it important or not? Because every day is going to be different in these markets. And if your system is so filtered out that it's looking for that ultimate entry, then maybe, sure, you're not going to blow up the account. You're all messed up and nothing's ever going to happen to you, so you're good to go. Yes, put away the hand sanitizer, please. So I guess this is the trap scalp here. Easy 20 pipper to make. Risk 10 to make 20. We could have gone in heavy there. Could have buy limits here that didn't fill. Very disappointing. But then the 1 hour chart says, okay, let's throw some tickets in here. We should be able to figure this out. Let's go for 8 hours. We'll just buy down here just because. Turn on candlesticks. Risk 12 to make 28. It's kind of ridiculous trade. I mean, it's got to come down here. Then it's got to rip all the way to here. So, a little greedy. So most of this stuff to me looks like a scalp. Trying to make 20 pips. Here's a good ratio. Risk 10 to make 20. So the market's got to come up and all the way back to where it's at now. There you go. So if you sell way up into this tonight, risk 20 to make 20. So that's my best ratio. I'm going to break even. And the buy side, to make it look how can we imagine getting filled here? So it looks like there could be a big fight up here. So I'll put a scalp in. Here's a 12 to make 16. I got to turn off this damn exit. So I just entrance only is all I care about. I don't want to duplicate any entrance orders. So let's just go up and I don't know how long it's going to take for that to cook. We just got 1 day left. So big sellers came in. All the trend traders sold this 1 hour cloud system. Doing pretty good there. And then another 20 pips to be made. And lo and behold, as soon as they got below this lonely wick here, people just went berserkoid and they gobbled that thing up. And we must have known that was the low of the previous day, so we could have gobbled that up with the potential to buy deeper into it. So from here, about 20 pip window, and then we got another, so this is 21 pips, and they got down here another big pack. So one day that'll be, maybe next week, psycho zone that you only spend a few moments in there, really. If you bought into this low of the day lonely wick there, so you're buying this crush, this would be pretty tremendous, right? Because you're buying 40 pip plunge, 50 pip window, this lonely wick here, so that if you're conservatively going to buy more here and then more on this one, I really got to put the wicks on top, but you see it's poking through the wick. And if you dedicate half of your tickets to this window, this 37 pip window, and it's a 1 hour chart, and they just rip into this. So if you're trying to buy this for a 5 pip bounce, I don't know if you made your 5 pips without them smashing down. But you had to know that if they revisited the Asian session, right here, it actually went below it, but they revisit that price only because it's ranging on the daily. So it went up for a day and it paused one day and then it went down. It's kind of a simple, and it's almost a perfect fit for this indicator because it's giving you that nice day trader 1 hour system. So right now you should be long, right? There's no guesswork in this. You should be long right now. So if you put it in the 1 hour, you have to, but you also have a little bit of thinking about, you wouldn't necessarily sell here because it's blue. But I guess it feels good to know, and I would put the buy limits in maybe. So now, really super tight buy limits, and possibility of just blowing these tickets right out. Always that's the possibility. Some bad ratio here, risk 12 to make 8. But I could probably make 8 with a 12 pip stop. And then here's another, here's a good ratio, but this may take until next week. Going to buy down here with a 13 pip stop to make 32 pips, 14 to make 32. Same thing here. If we could go rip into that and come back, the news comes out, you'd still have to wait through that. Like that would have been a fill like this if we put in a pocket, just a two standard lots. So here you're going to sell 20K, 40K. By here you're in like 180K, but you're willing to go 250K in and really take some heat, and that's just going to let it go. Now, it's scalpish over here, so your targets here need to be, so you can risk 20 to make 20 at the very top of that, but you may not even make that. So you always have to have these 8 pip winners if you're going to scalp blended in there. Because to make it all giant sized is really just too, it's bad money management because you're just repeating the same problem. So you want to diffuse the problem, right? So Might be a politician, apparently. Well, oh, it's like, can't you see what's going on here? I mean, look at this girl. She's from Asia, my God. So, buying on the limits here, coming back into the green is, yeah, sure, this, it is green, so you should be long, but why chase it? So put the buy limits in. Then, I think I'm already long this thing. In the euro dollar. And so you let it go, and this is what it looks like. Next week, who knows? I see Bitcoin's kind of fizzling, though. So everything's kind of like turning. Things are turning, like going the other way now. But people love trend trade. What are you going to do? So yeah, it looks like we're going to make a rally here in the dollar yen. Everything seems to rally at night. But I bought severely into the plunge of the euro dollar, so, and the British pound fell out of bed pretty hard here, so it's down on its luck. I bought into that pretty heavy. Here's I got blowing out my scalps. I laid these scalps last night, and they just took them out. I think this is like 20, 40K right there. I think these lasted 8 hours, so those are definitely destroyed. Whatever that was. So it looks like about, I don't know, 20K. I have to dial into it. Yeah. Something like that. Maybe not. They're all 1Ks, so just look at the British pound. So this is pretty unique situation. That is down hard. While we are just down in the trap in the bilge of deep discount. You don't buy here. Even just like 1K, you gotta be nuts. Like, so I would definitely say let's put some limits in. So I bought at the market, but I'd say we still gotta put some limits in on that because we could go lower tonight. So leave enough space to. Here's all my market orders I launched before when we got to the end of the day. But I think it's still going to tank, so I've got to put some wide stops in here because 20 pip grid, I think. No, it's 25. So 25 pip grid here. So I didn't get in too heavy, so if we could buy more here if it tanks. So the 4-hour chart is like ridiculous. And if I thought the market was going to be open for 5 more days, like this is Monday, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem putting in a 1 week ticket. Be down buying down here. Ever came down there, but that might be next week. In the meantime, I'd say, tonight in the bounce house, if you take off these objects, start over. All right, so we got limits sitting down here where it got out of the market at the end of the day. Now we're looking for a rally. The spread is 1.5 almost. Same thing in the euro dollar. Kind of dead in the water. Not as bad, not as smashed down as the British pound made new lows for like just went into some giant cauldron of hell there, where the euro dollar is pretty tame. But something's going to give here. We're either going to tank down into this thing and just fall into the abyss and just keep melting down like the fucking Wicked Witch, kind of melting. Or we're trapped under this floor on the monthly chart. And it's just going to come rip your face off here, and they're going to print more money than Jesus in the United States. Fundamentally, that's going to be the argument if that happens, right? And you got these last month was a doji, so something's going to give here pretty hard coming up. We're either going to crush down and keep tanking, keep going to hell here, and just keep going into the abyss, really, and or we're chattering around for an attempt to launch above this floor that we stuck below. It's a pretty consistent mess here in the euro dollar. Yeah, that's just 25 on top of the 125 pip grid. So your trades are kind of, we buy that if it plunges tonight. Just for the scalp. I mean, I just like the idea of making 12 pips and just making money than waiting to make 1,200 pips. So tonight, if we can buy the aggressive styles to put in a 4-hour tickets here. So this we could go watch a movie, a 4-hour movie. But yeah, I'll take the 14 to make 7 to make 7 here. This is break even, $7 to make $7 if they all fill. So this is only 4 hours. I'm going to sell up here. So I'll take a look at my phone later on this, see if I'm getting filled. This would be a classic sweep. If the market spikes up here on the 15-minute chart, you're looking for that drama to kick in, smack into this 4-hour bank, rip back. It looks conceivable on this chart because you see it can happen. When they bum rush this floor, so to speak, it didn't so much matter there. This is the FOMC bullshit. And then sellers above here. Plenty of chances to scalp out of that, though. You didn't have to sit through Asia. You could have sold that one. Then we tripped the fractals. You know, these turtle traders start selling here, the trend traders. You got triangle, you got your cloud, whatever. First chance to put in a sell stop, Goober trade entry. Sell stop. Sell stop. You get burned. No fill there. Comes ripping back to the floor on the 15. Smack down. By the end of the day, here we are. Do we continue up into the clouds? What's the next step? What's the next step in the... I'll take it either way. If they come down here, I'd love to buy below that. Definitely buy a ton below the previous day on the 15. So this must be the order block here. That must be it, right? And here's a bottom become a top. At least we know that one. Kind of trap first, kind of Asian trap, and then wheels come off. Just keeps cascading down. You come in by a 1K, a 2K, a 3K, a 4K, a 5K, a 6K, ready to buy even more, but definitely got to cash out of this one as it comes flying back to the order block. Or you put a lot of orders below the previous day and you just wait for it to come smashing down in, it's like, you don't need a candlestick on this. You take that 15-minute chart and just treat it like a tick chart. Certainly makes it easy. Certainly the Williams fractal thing makes it easier to places to trap a goober, So trap a goober kind of thing, but you can only make 10 pips on that. 10 to 20 good pips, right? Because if you sell into the 20 pip window and you make at least 20 pips coming back, then I guess you could say you got out too early. But if you make your ratios, I'm going to risk 13 to make 26. I'm going to risk 14 to make 39. All these kind of odd ratios, then yeah, this is like a no-brainer, because you just buy down here. If you're trying to capture this, so if you bought anything here, you definitely want to get out and take at least your 12 pips, and maybe let the rest go. But then here comes Asia. This looks easier to trade to me than the cloud thing, only because I want to buy this thing here, and I get a little bit distracted because I know the trend systems are kicking in when we just keep moving. But I'm like, where are we going to? Like, yeah, okay. Certainly this is going to be crazy. If we take this out, people are going to lose their mind. Like, this is like Dominion servers kicking in, spitting out your vote. This is the guy grabbing the thumb drive, right? He's got the terminal. He's like, oh, you're online? Okay. There you go. Who'd you vote for? Oh, yeah. Oh, that guy's... Yeah, pedophile guy. Yeah, this guy won. Yeah. Well, we put our buy stops here and sell stops here, and we'll just let this go. And if we get filled to the long side, okay, we'll just manage it. We'll trail our stops, and you can do that too. You could be a complete fucking idiot. Sell stops, whichever way the wind blows. Oh, hey, just run my trailing stop, and hey, look at this trailing stop. They finally stopped me out here. This is probably the best example of a trailing stop working out, actually. Everything working out. Like, that's presupposing you nailed the sell there on the 15, you hit the trigger, ping pong, and then you held it through this crush of here. It takes out the low of the day, and of course, you had to know there'd be a bunch of supply here or whatever. You always seen that we're either going to get a destruction of this, where you take out the low and you never come back. It just keeps tanking, and it looks like that's happening here, right? But then, where are we at now? So tonight, we're here, we fizzle. What about next week? Well, you know what? I'm a buyer below here, I'm a seller above here. Not really much to think about there on the 15. Looks pretty simple. I would say it depends on if you're going to do 40 tickets in there. Maybe you buy 1K, 2K, but when it gets to here, if you've already planned out this area, then otherwise you got to jump on the market train. You got to punch that button at the market on the 15 every time you get a rally. Any kind of wiggle up. Or just running a sell stop, actually. If you just put a really tight sell stop 3 pips away and just kept pulling the trigger every time it drifts up, because you couldn't lose on that, right? It's like, but you could here if you put buy stops in, because they rip it back and up. It's a rip. There's too much ripping, even though it went up. Here's a nice smooth decay, and then pam, kablamo, because 15 minutes of just bum rushing through this, right? This is, oh, there's not a blank in there? It's not a blank? Oh, sorry, buddy. Yeah. People are so fucking retarded. So, so what's more risky? A movie with a real gun or forex? I do think I'm very long, so we're up $75. So I'm very long. I'm looking forward to here, and the sellers will come in. I'm selling into that though. So it's like, how do we get in? How do we get in there, and like, what do we expect? Are we just going to come here, pause at the borderline, and then kablamo? There'll be a big deal up here. People will be losing their mind up here on this. If we ever take this out, I don't know if there's any big news tomorrow, but news can make the market just kind of go either way, destroy everybody's target and stop, because now it's too ferocious of a market to it gets out of control. And people can't keep up with it. So we're up $70. It's 7:30 at night. Let me put the delete this. Yeah, these objects. So I leave them on there so I know they got filled. I go back to good old fashioned. Looks like a trap here, so I'm gonna stay long. I don't think I got filled on any limits because you'd have to have your orders down here, and there's a spread. You could add your orders down here maybe. They just didn't pull back enough. All right, so I just wait this out. So wait for this thing to unfold. It's kind of stuck down here at the bottom. Bunch of chop. It's a big mess. There's no way to put a pretty face on this thing. So it is what it is. It's just a fucking mess. Looks like the Bitcoin people are going to have a little bit of a contest here at the borderline. Yeah, that's going to be something else. See that drama too. You're trapped at the very tippy top of Mount Everest. It should be fun to watch that. Here's the Swiss. Oil. Big pullback in oil. Looks like oil just couldn't hang up there. Just couldn't keep it down there. I see price of gas went up though as oil comes flying back. Yeah, I think you put a fork in that oil for a while. We're not going to need any of that because there's nothing to deliver. The trucks aren't running. Everybody wants strikes, so I think it's time to see that oil come back to about $62 a barrel. And at least come back to that top. I think the scalpers are going to bail here at the 74, 75. Trend traders are supposed to come in and buy this pullback, on the weekly. That'll be fun. So sit back and watch the wheels come off this train. Push back. Look at that $5 down here. Amazing. It's the end of the world as we know it.